Hello there. Some of the contents of a briefing paper prepared for the EU Parliament Constitutional Affairs Committee are an insult to the whole UK. A study on Brexit and the Irish border situation has phrases in it that certainly raised my eyebrows, and my anger too. The document, called Brexit and Ireland, Legal, Political and Economic Considerations, uses the word ignorance 4 times when referring to the UK and Brexit, and looks to me like fighting talk. Here's the first. I think that Irish people understand with regret that the decision to leave was not the result of a carefully considered assessment by UK politicians, but an instinctive, ideological choice based on prejudice, ignorance and nostalgia. Now, the UK has had ample time to debate the issue of EU membership. It went to a referendum, and then after a lengthy period Article 50 was triggered, and then after further debate in Westminster as well as court cases, Parliament voted it through with a heavy majority. This one throwaway line in an EU document completely dismisses the entire UK democratic system and all politicians across the board as ignorant. The next one is, the politicians concerned are inexperienced in international negotiations. They do not know what they want. They have failed to listen to their experienced advisers. They suffer from ignorance and confusion about the basic principles of the EU customs union and single market, and of the constraints resulting from World Trade Organization rules. Now, we know what we want. We want to get out of the EU and leave behind organisations that can produce arrogant literature such as this. Then comes the attempt to drive wedges. The politicians also suffer from ignorance of the basic principles of the EU due to the long-standing dislike of the EU in the UK. The English, the Scots are different, were always reluctant participants in the EU and did not understand or share the wish to cooperate to ensure peace, prosperity and human rights in Europe. No, that's why so many of our forefathers are buried across the European continent, helping them to regain their rights and sovereignty, twice in the last century. And finally, in fact, Brexit was always based on a combination of ignorance, prejudice and nostalgia. Leavers knew nothing of the history of the EU or the EEA. Now, I know that Remainers will be chortling away in their normal short-sighted manner, but when the EU switches targets, it might be something you care about that gets hit next time. I am so glad we're going to get out of this stinking mire called the EU. Now to the latest net migration figures from the Office for National Statistics. In the year ending June 2017, a full year after the EU referendum, net migration stood at 230,000, which equates to the population of Milton Keynes. This is a drop of 106,000 compared to the same time last year. Over the year, there were 572,000 people coming in and 342,000 people going out. When looking at this graph, you can see that although immigration numbers, the red bars, have fallen recently, it is still higher than it was between 2011 and 2013. And to head off all those saying that everyone's leaving because of the Brexit vote, you will see that there was also a fall in immigration from mid-2010 to the end of 2012, proving that factors other than Brexit are also at play here, and net immigration has always fluctuated. Let's move on to immigration numbers. As you can see from the green line on the next graph, although the numbers of EU citizens coming into the UK has fallen since 2016, it is actually falling from a massive high and is still far above the level seen until 2013. And again, When looking at those emigrating from the UK in this graph, you see that the numbers of EU citizens leaving the UK, the green line, was higher back in 2008. The Remainers, though, still try to blame the latest figures on xenophobia and racism, but if that were really the case, then the numbers of non-EU nationals emigrating would also have increased significantly, wouldn't they? But they haven't, so I'll let you work that one out for yourselves. Another point to note here is that the number of British citizens leaving the UK has remained fairly level over the last few years. I would have expected to see an upward spike here from all those Remainers who threaten to exit the UK should we vote to leave the EU. But they haven't, so things can't be all that bad, can they? The ONS also points out that the number of people moving to the UK to take up a definite job has remained stable. However, fewer people were coming to the UK looking for work. Commenting on these figures, John Bickley, UKIP's immigration spokesman, said, "Any fall in net immigration is to be welcomed. However, allowing almost 600,000 immigrants into the UK, more than the population of Manchester, shows that the government continues to be grossly negligent in the control of our borders, despite two Tory Prime Ministers promising to bring net immigration down to the tens of thousands. Either the Tories are incompetent or misleading the public, likely both." In July to September 2017, there were 2.38 million EU nationals employed in the UK, up 112,000 on the same period the previous year. And in the year to June 2017, nearly 28,500 EU nationals applied to become British citizens, up 80% compared with the previous year. So much for the claim from the Remainers and Project Fear supporters that EU citizens are fleeing the country after and because of Brexit. And to finish, the 2017 Legatum Prosperity Index of 149 nations has the UK in 10th spot overall, ahead of countries like Germany, France, Spain, Italy and the US, as well as being the 5th best to do business in. So, what are your thoughts on this and on EU arrogance and net immigration? Please leave a comment below. Thank you. Please do like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.